Hey everybody, Andy here with YotaMD. We've got the 99 Land Cruiser up on the lift. We're going to get it in the air and show you underneath it. This will be a video walkthrough to be a supplement to the for sale listing for this thing. I've had it for 7 or 8 years, I think. I'll fill in that detail in a minute here. That's not running. What you hear running is this old Supra, but the Cruiser here in really good shape. We'll get it up in the air and look at the underside, show you the lack of rust and just general condition underneath. Let's do it. Alright, let's step through it. I have not cleaned the underside, so this is just as is, and hopefully there's not enough dirt to really take away from the experience, but my goal is to just show you how it is and save myself the hassle of trying to make it look any cleaner than it really is. It is what it is. So here you go. Starting at the back, we've got OME, looking at my notes, 2866 springs. They're the heavies, and they're a really modest lift. I think 1.5 inches, something like that. So it's not a ton, but it's definitely enough that it looks a little more aggressive. And it's set up to handle the rear bumper, and then I had an air down, gear up storage system, platform system with drawers previously. So if the future owner is interested in that setup, let me know. We can work something out. But yeah, the suspension is set up for some heavy stuff. Slee rear diff protector there. It's got the locking rear diff, of course. It's 99. And does have that optional locking rear diff. Lower control arms were replaced recently. These are SPC, I believe. So those were replaced last year, I think. You can look through my notes, but I think that was last year. Shocks are OEM Toyota. I'm a big fan of those for most builds, unless you're going to go with the really nice high-end aftermarket stuff. The Toyota shocks are just a crazy good deal. Pretty cheap and pretty good. Upper control arms are original, so those could probably use replacing in the future, as with most rigs. The lateral control arm, same deal, original there. Functional, but definitely has some miles. Muffler is a Bosel. It's got a dent there and then some corrosion there, but seals, works well. Slee sliders, so slider steps installed there. You can see how those are mounted. No real leaks to speak of, at least not that I saw in my quick little once over before I hit record. Original torsion bars, adjusted up a little bit to match the lift in the rear. And just as you can see on the frame, really no rust to speak of, just your usual real mild surface stuff, but it's in really good shape. This was a Nevada truck before, so it spent most of its life, I think, in Reno and then came to Colorado. I took it to Phoenix, Arizona for a couple years and then back to Colorado. So not much rust to speak of. A little dirty, but no rust. So coming up here, new OEM CVs. Those are genuine Toyota, brand new, not refurbished, not remanufactured, 100% brand new as of, I think, last year. So I'll have that information in the listing, but that's $700 or something worth of OEM equipment there. Steering rack is good, no huge leaks. Looks like we've got a little bit there from the end of the rack, but not really enough to even drip down below here. And I think I'll take this cover off for you and show you that, just in case there's anything else hiding up there. Other side of the steering rack, no leaks. Upper control arms are SPC. They're the greasable joint. The greasable joint does let out a little bit of grease, so it just kind of looks dirty, but I think those have been working pretty well. It's all properly aligned. But yeah, you can see that greasable joint just gets a little greasy. Fasteners on the skid plate, all good. We've got one that rusted out, I think, over here. And I think that was a previous owner that snapped that one off, but otherwise they're all good. So with that, I think I'm going to take off this cover for you, show you what's in there, and then I'll talk through the timing belt service that was done recently, because that had a lot of extras done during that service. Okay, skid plate removed. I've got the flash turned on so you can see a little bit better. A lot more dirt than I thought was going to be up here, so it's just kind of dirty, but actually I think it probably gives you a good opportunity to see how few leaks there are. Everything's dry. I think that's a good sign. So let's talk timing belt service. Actually, alternator while I'm there. So that was replaced late last year, so that doesn't have too many miles on it. The timing belt service. Oh, and front shock here. Looks like there might be some oil coming down from that one, so that's the front right shock. Probably needs replacement. I think it's due. It's probably got 70,000 miles on it or something, so that's probably a good idea. Timing belt service. Radiator was replaced. That's a Denso unit that was done during the timing belt job. Other things that were done during the timing belt: fan pulley, fan clutch, idler pulley, tensioner in the timing belt, of course, the water pump. You can see that newer fan clutch there. What else? The hoses, I believe the upper and lower hoses are new, but I'll have to verify that. Oh, and the flash is turned off because my phone is too hot. It's the middle of summer, so sorry. But anyway, I'll review the timing belt stuff. I did a lot of extra equipment. The parts alone were $1,300, and that's through mostly discount retailers. So I tried to do a really thorough job on the timing belt. And just as a side note, I was planning on keeping this indefinitely. I was not planning on selling this vehicle in 2020. So it has definitely been maintained and cared for as though it was not going to be sold. So I think that should work in your favor if you're the buyer. Other things to note while I'm right here: differential bushings. These were replaced. The bushing in there was replaced. The rear bushings were all replaced, and that was last year, I think. The differential seals were replaced, so those are all brand new. The hub flanges, when I did the CVs, the hub flanges were also done, so those are brand new, OEM. What else while I'm under here? Brake pads are due for service, so it'll need new brake pads. They're towards the end of life. Still within spec, but definitely towards the end of life. I think that covers most of what I've done. And I think I've given you a pretty good view of the body and the frame. And you can see there's really just no real rust. There's some real light surface contamination in some areas, but this is just about as clean as they get, especially at this mileage. So spare tire, obviously still have the spare wheel that's on the bumper. The bumper has been notched, so you can see that there. That's the hitch receiver for the Bump It Off-Road bumper. I do have the rear bumper. I do have the running boards as well. They've been kept in really nice shape, so I can provide those with the sale. I've got the original wheels with the winter tires on them. So right now these are the 18-inch wheels that I've got, and current tires on there are 275 65/18 Cooper Discovery AT3 4S. But overall, I think it's in really good shape. It's been cared for as though it was not going to be sold, so it's, I think, better than average, hopefully far better than average. So there you go. I'm not sure what else to review right now. You can see the bumper, fasteners there. It's all fastened. Everything was new. Nuts were welded into the frame. The old nuts were coming undone, so those were welded in place. Yeah. Another thing worth pointing out, the windshield is Toyota OEM, so it is OEM glass. I'm not sure if it's original. And as far as I know, it does not have any screws up the side drip rails, which is a good thing. It does have some cracks though, so it's got some chips, or not cracks, I should say chips. The cracks have not propagated, so I haven't gotten the glass replaced, but it does have a couple chips. It's been through multiple winters in Colorado, so I don't think the glass is going to continue to crack at all. But there you go. It does have some chips in the glass, but it is OEM glass, and to my knowledge, no screws. Looks like they were done properly with rivets. Again, this could be the original windshield. The windows are tinted with 3M color stable. So color stable here, it's 20% in all the rear windows, which was legal in Arizona, and then 30% in the front. It is wired up for CB, and there's an antenna mount in the rear on the swing out. Hands-free system, microphone there for Bluetooth. It is pre-wired for a USB micro dash cam, and stereo has a USB and auxiliary input right there. And I think that's about it. The amp lives under there for the 4-channel, and then that pre-out for the sub. And then the sub I've got pictures of. You probably saw that in the listing. That box could be included or not, up to you. Alright, let's do a few shots of the engine so you can see the hood. Hood's got some definite paint issues. The hood is where it really shows its miles. As soon as I got the first flake of paint on the hood that started to peel up, it had clear coat failure. I stopped trying to prevent it from degrading any further. So if you care about that, then you probably want to have it resprayed. And I could potentially do that for you. I do DIY auto paint work out of my garage, so could potentially do that for you. But yeah, there you go. So engine bay without having been cleaned or anything, just sort of how it was a while back. I probably did spray this down somewhat recently, but Group 31 battery there. Here's the fused connection for audio. Done pretty well there. Cleanly, at least, I think. You can see the brake reservoir. It's a little over full. I was trying to flush that out a little bit, so I need to pull some back out, but you can see that. The fluid is not new, but it's not horrible. It was replaced probably 60,000 miles ago, something like that. Can't recall exactly when I did that, but I probably have that in my records, so there you go. New radiator. There's the timing belt, done at 254 in 2017. See, coolant in the reservoir, proper spot. There was a leak on the power steering hose here. I double clamped that. That seemed to stop that, but that was leaking at some point. Didn't seem to be leaking too much now, but there you go. So hopefully that gives you a good feel for the condition of the vehicle. Trying to be as transparent as possible so that folks would feel comfortable if they want to travel to come see it. Trying to give you a feel for what you're getting before you see it in person. As somebody that's bought vehicles remotely, I always appreciate that, so trying to extend that courtesy to whoever might be interested in this. Alright, there you go. I'm not sure where I'm going to end up posting it. Probably on Mud and on my website. And this video will get posted to YouTube. And reach out if you're interested, I guess. I'm trying to get it sold by the end of the month. It's July 2020. I'm sorry, it's August 2020, so trying to sell by the end of August to avoid having to re-register. So the only other item that I have to touch on that I haven't really already is the sound system, which is normally not something I'd really mention in a used car sale, but it's pretty good in here, and I think it might be worth mentioning. So Morel speakers, they are Morel Virtus 602, I believe. So those are $500 components in the front soundstage, and then a JL Audio monoblock amp for the rear subwoofers, and those are two Focal 27V2s, an audio control amp. That is a, I forget the model number because it's long. I think it's an 804 something. It's a D-class DSP amp, 4-channel DSP with the pre-out for the subwoofer, and then it's all been sound treated, and I'll show some pictures of that. But the whole interior was gutted and then sound treated, done quote-unquote the right way. So it's real nice and quiet, at least for a Land Cruiser. It's not quite as good as the Lexus LX version, but it is close. It's definitely better than the factory Land Cruiser. So nice and quiet, great sound system, and I think that rounds out all the details I have. So it's a 99, 281,000 miles, locking rear diff, timing belt up to service, or service up to speed, rear bumper, slider steps, springs to match. It's got the Slee Group 31 battery tray. Not that that is a huge deal, but that is nice. It's got a Group 31 AGM battery. And yeah, I've run out of things to say, so there you go. Just going to give you some more footage of the undercarriage. It's been good to me, and I'm sure it'll be good to you.